The case of Lizzie Borden is a complex and intriguing chapter in American history, steeped in mystery, controversy, and the enduring fascination of the human psyche. Born in 1860 into a wealthy and reclusive family in Fall River, Massachusetts, Lizzie Borden would become one of the most infamous figures of her time, accused and acquitted of the brutal axe murders of her father and stepmother in 1892. This account delves into the details of the case, exploring the events leading up to the murders, the investigation and trial that followed, and the enduring legacy of one of America's most enduring mysteries. Chapter 1. The Borden Family. To understand the case of Lizzie Borden, it is essential to delve into the background of the Borden family. Lizzie Andrew Borden was born on July 19, 1860, to Andrew and Sarah Borden. She was the youngest of two daughters, with an older sister named Emma. The Borden family was well off financially, thanks to Andrew Borden's successful career as a businessman and property owner. Despite their wealth, the Borden family lived a frugal and reclusive life. Andrew Borden was known for his thriftiness and reluctance to spend money, despite owning multiple properties and being considered one of the wealthiest men in Fall River. The family home, located at 92 2nd Street in Fall River, was a modest Victorian-style house that belied their wealth and social standing. The dynamics within the Borden family were also complex. Lizzie's mother, Sarah, died when she was young, leaving Andrew to raise Lizzie and Emma on his own. In 1865, Andrew remarried a woman named Abby Durfee Gray, who became Lizzie's stepmother. The relationship between Lizzie and Abby was strained, with Lizzie reportedly resenting her stepmother and feeling overshadowed by her presence. Chapter 2. The murders. The morning of August 4, 1892, started like any other in the Borden household. Andrew and Abby Borden went about their morning routines, while Lizzie and Emma were elsewhere in the house. However, by mid-morning, tragedy would strike, and the Borden family would be forever changed. Around 11 a.m., Andrew Borden was brutally murdered in the sitting room of the family home. He had been struck multiple times with a hatchet or axe, sustaining severe head injuries that would prove fatal. Upstairs, Abby Borden was also discovered dead in the guest bedroom, her body bearing similar wounds to her husband's. The murders were discovered by Lizzie Borden, who claimed to have found her father's body upon returning home from running errands. Upon making the gruesome discovery, Lizzie alerted the household's maid, Bridget Sullivan, who in turn summoned neighbors and authorities to the scene. News of the murders spread quickly throughout Fall River, sending shockwaves through the close-knit community. Chapter 3. The investigation. In the aftermath of the murders, suspicion immediately fell upon Lizzie Borden. There were several factors that contributed to this suspicion, including inconsistencies in Lizzie's alibi and her demeanor following the discovery of the bodies. Witnesses reported that Lizzie displayed little emotion upon finding her father's body, leading many to question her innocence. Furthermore, Lizzie's behavior in the days leading up to the murders raised eyebrows among those who knew her. She had reportedly been acting strangely and had made several unusual purchases, including a new dress and a quantity of prussic acid, a substance commonly used in cleaning products and potentially lethal if ingested in large doses. As news of the murders spread, the Borden household was inundated with curious onlookers, reporters, and law enforcement officials. The crime scene was thoroughly examined, and evidence was collected in an attempt to piece together what had happened on that fateful August morning. Despite the suspicions surrounding Lizzie Borden, there was little concrete evidence linking her to the murders. The murder weapon was never found, and there were no eyewitnesses to the crimes. Furthermore, Lizzie maintained her innocence throughout the investigation, adamantly denying any involvement in the deaths of her father and stepmother. Chapter 4. The trial. The trial of Lizzie Borden began in June 1893 and quickly became a sensation, garnering widespread media coverage and public interest. Lizzie was charged with the murders of Andrew and Abby Borden and faced the possibility of life in prison or even the death penalty if convicted. The prosecution argued that Lizzie had a motive for the murders, inheritance and resentment towards her parents, and presented circumstantial evidence linking her to the crimes. They highlighted Lizzie's conflicting accounts of her whereabouts on the morning of the murders and her alleged attempts to cover up evidence in the aftermath of the crimes. The defense, led by renowned attorney Andrew Jennings, mounted a vigorous defense on behalf of Lizzie Borden. They argued that the prosecution's case was based on speculation and conjecture, with little concrete evidence to support their claims. They portrayed Lizzie as a victim of circumstance, a misunderstood woman unfairly vilified by the media and public opinion. Throughout the trial, Lizzie Borden remained composed, maintaining her innocence in the face of intense scrutiny and public backlash. She faced relentless questioning on the witness stand, but she never wavered in her assertion that she had nothing to do with the murders of her father and stepmother. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury reached a verdict on June 20, 1893. In a stunning turn of events, Lizzie Borden was acquitted of all charges, found not guilty of the murders of Andrew and Abby Borden. The verdict shocked the nation and sparked widespread controversy, with many people questioning the fairness of the trial and the integrity of the justice system. Chapter 5. Aftermath and Legacy. Following her acquittal, Lizzie Borden returned to Fall River and attempted to resume a normal life. However, she found herself ostracized by society and subject to public scrutiny wherever she went. Despite her attempts to move on from the events of 1892, Lizzie would forever be associated with the brutal murders that had taken place in her family home. In the years that followed, Lizzie Borden lived a relatively quiet life, largely out of the public eye. She inherited a substantial portion of her father's estate and purchased a new home, which she named Maplecroft. In the years following her acquittal, Lizzie Borden attempted to resume a semblance of normalcy, but she found it difficult to escape the notoriety surrounding the murders. Despite her efforts to live a quiet life, she remained a social outcast and subject to public scrutiny wherever she went. Lizzie Borden inherited a significant portion of her father's estate after his death, which provided her with financial security. With her newfound wealth, she purchased a large and elegant home located at 306 French Street in Fall River, which she named Maplecroft. The house served as her residence for the remainder of her life. In the aftermath of the trial, Lizzie Borden's relationship with her sister Emma became strained. Emma reportedly disapproved of Lizzie's decision to purchase the house on French Street and chose to distance herself from her sister. The two siblings grew apart, and they would never fully reconcile. Despite her wealth and newfound social status, Lizzie Borden remained a figure of curiosity and speculation in Fall River and beyond. She was often the subject of gossip and rumors, with many people continuing to believe that she had gotten away with murder. Over the years, Lizzie Borden's health began to decline, and she withdrew further from public life. She suffered from various ailments, including gallbladder problems and nervous disorders, which affected her physical and mental well-being. Lizzie Borden died on June 1, 1927, at the age of 66, following a brief illness. Her death sparked renewed interest in the case, with newspapers across the country publishing obituaries and retrospectives on her life. Despite her passing, the mystery surrounding the murders of Andrew and Abby Borden endured, with many questions left unanswered. In the years since her death, Lizzie Borden's legacy has only grown, becoming an enduring part of American folklore and popular culture. The Borden House at 92 2nd Street in Fall River, where the murders took place, has been preserved as a museum and tourist attraction, drawing visitors from around the world who are eager to learn more about the infamous case. Despite numerous theories and speculations, the true identity of the murderer or murderers remains unknown to this day. Some believe that Lizzie Borden was innocent and unfairly vilified by the media and public opinion, while others are convinced of her guilt. The case of Lizzie Borden continues to fascinate and captivate people over a century later, serving as a reminder of the enduring mysteries of history and the complexities of the human psyche.